Have you ever noticed how many of us spend the first half of our lives forming habits that can actually work against us in the second half? Today, we're going to talk about 9 specific things you may want to stop doing after age 55. And some of these might actually surprise you. More importantly, I'm going to show you how letting go of these habits could dramatically improve both your financial outlook and the quality of your life. I'm sure you all know someone who treated life much like a checklist. For someday, countless professionals work grueling hours. They save diligently and they delay living fully, only to discover too late that someday isn't guaranteed. The haunting truth to this is that possibly the greatest risk isn't outliving your money, it's underliving your years, and that's exactly what I want to help you avoid today. My name is Patrick Shope, and I'm the founder of Shope and Associates, where we help people transition from the wealth building phase of life to the wealth enjoying phase. And after working with hundreds of clients in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, I've identified 9 specific habits that often hold people back from living their best lives. More importantly, I've seen the remarkable transformations that happen when people finally let these habits go. Let's start with habit number 1. Stop making emotional decisions about money. Now, you might think, you're making purely logical financial decisions. But the common reality is that after age 55, our relationship with money often becomes much more emotional, not less. Let me give you an example. I worked with a couple who we'll call Tom and Linda for the sake of their privacy. Tom and Linda kept about a $500,000 in cash because of the 2008 financial crash. It had scared them so badly. They thought that they were being conservative, but that emotional decision could have cost them thousands in lost purchasing power. We helped them develop a plan to manage their portfolio by repositioning some of that money. What many people don't realize is that after age 55, emotional financial decisions often come from a place of fear rather than greed. It's not the drive toward getting rich anymore. It's the fear of losing what you've built. But that fear can be just as damaging to your financial health as greed. The second habit you need to stop is postponing healthcare decisions. I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say, I'll deal with that after I retire. But here's the reality. Every year you wait after 55 to address health issues, it can cost you more in the long run. Let me share some numbers that might shock you. Let's say someone puts off getting treatment for sleep apnea simply because they're just too busy with work. By the time they finally address it, let's say at age 63, they've developed heart complications that may have cost them over $100,000 in out-of-pocket expenses. Expenses that possibly could have been avoided with earlier intervention. Think about it this way. Would you wait until your car engine fails before changing the oil? Of course you wouldn't. Yet many of us do exactly that with our health after 55. The key is to start viewing healthcare as an investment, not an expense. The third habit to stop is maintaining unnecessary expenses out of habit or obligation. This doesn't mean that you need to be super frugal with your money. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's more about being intentional with your spending. Let me show you what I mean with an example client we can call Margaret. Margaret was spending $800 per month on a country club membership she rarely used. When we dug a little deeper, we discovered she was keeping it mainly because her late husband had loved the club so much. Once she redirected this money toward activities she actually enjoyed, her entire outlook on retirement changed dramatically. A practical exercise you can do is take your last 3 months of credit card statements or your debit card statements, whatever you use, highlight every recurring charge over $100. Now ask yourself this question for each one of them. If I wasn't already paying for this, would I start paying for it today? You might be surprised by your answers. The fourth habit to stop is avoiding important conversations with family members about money and legacy. I can't stress this enough. The cost of avoiding these conversations often exceeds any emotional discomfort that it might cause just by having the conversation. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. I worked with a family where the parents had accumulated significant wealth but never really discussed money with their adult children. When the father passed away unexpectedly, the mother and children found themselves dealing with not just the grief, but also confusion about counts, where they were held, what they were, passwords, where they were located, insurance policies, and wishes for their estate. This created a bunch of unnecessary stress during an already difficult time. This may be able to be avoided by starting with one simple conversation. Share your values about money, not just the numbers. Talk about your hopes for your family's future. These conversations often become much easier once you start having them. The fifth habit to stop is following outdated financial advice. The financial world has changed dramatically in the last decade, yet many people still follow rules of thumb from 30 years ago. A specific example of this is the old 4% withdrawal rule for retirement. This rule suggests that you can safely withdraw 4% of your portfolio in your first year of retirement, then adjust that amount for inflation. It just doesn't account for today's longer lifespans, different interest rate environments, or the new tax laws affecting retirement accounts. Modern retirement planning should be much more dynamic, not back of the napkin calculations. Think about it like this. A couple retiring today at age 65 might have a 50% chance that at least one of them could live past age 90. That's nearly 30 years of retirement. The old rules just simply weren't designed for retirements lasting that long. The sixth habit to stop is living for others' expectations. This might sound a bit more like psychological advice than financial advice, but trust me on this. It could have massive financial implications. A good example to help visualize this is a couple who maintained a 5,000 square foot home they didn't need or even particularly enjoy anymore, simply because it was expected of them at their social level. When they finally decided to downsize to a comfortable 2,500 square foot home, they freed up over $4,000 per month, money they now use to travel, spend time with grandchildren, just things that give them purpose in life. It's crucial to understand that after age 55, your most valuable asset may not be your 401k or your home anymore. In my opinion, it's your time. Every decision that doesn't align with your true priorities is essentially spending that precious resource on someone else's dreams. The seventh habit to stop is putting off estate planning updates. Now, I know estate planning isn't exactly an exciting topic, but here's why it's crucial. Many estate planning mistakes may happen not from having no plan, but from having an outdated one. Let me share a sobering example. Put yourself in the shoes of someone we'll call Dennis, whose ex-wife received his entire 401k when he passed away, even though they'd been divorced for 12 years. Why? Because he never updated his beneficiary designation after the divorce. His current wife and children received nothing from that account. To avoid this, follow this one simple rule. Review your estate planning every time you experience a major life event, or at least every 2 to 3 years. The world changes quickly, and your estate plan should keep pace with it. The eighth habit to stop is ignoring tax planning opportunities. Too many people over 55 thinks tax planning is something you just only do in April, which is a costly misconception. Let me show you why. Picture someone who had $800,000 in her traditional IRA. They were taken only the required minimum distributions, thinking they were being smart by keeping the money invested. What they didn't realize was that because of the Secure Act legislation, they were creating a possible tax problem for their children, who would have to withdraw all the money within 10 years of inheriting it, potentially pushing them into a much higher tax bracket. A strategic Roth conversion plan might have saved their children an estimated $150,000 in taxes over time. They may have wanted to explore doing conversions in their early 60s when their tax rate may have been much lower. The ninth and final habit to stop is staying in unfulfilled routines just because they're comfortable. This might seem like an odd inclusion in financial discussion, but here's why it matters. Many of these successful retirements I've seen aren't about having the most money. They're about having the most purpose. Let me share one final story. A client of mine who we'll call Bob was a professional who had always wanted to teach. After retiring, he spent 2 years watching TV, playing golf, but feeling increasingly unfulfilled. When he finally decided to become a part-time community college instructor, his entire outlook changed. Yes, he was making less money than he could have consulting in his old field, but his satisfaction with life increased dramatically. Here's what I've learned after helping hundreds of clients transition into their post-55 lives. The key to a fulfilling retirement isn't just about having enough money. It's about having enough purpose. And sometimes the habits that helped us accumulate this wealth can actually prevent us from finding that purpose. So let's recap these 9 habits to stop. Number 1, making emotional money decisions. 2, postponing healthcare decisions. 3, maintaining unnecessary expenses. 4, avoiding important family conversations. 5, following outdated financial advice. 6, living for others' expectations. 7, putting off estate planning updates. 8, ignoring tax planning opportunities. 9, staying in unfulfilled routines. Now, you might be wondering which of these habits is the most important one to address first. The answer really depends on your specific situation, but here's a simple way to prioritize it. Look at each habit and ask yourself, what's the cost of waiting one more year to change this? Often, the habit with the highest cost, whether financial or personal, is the one that you should probably tackle first. So before we wrap up, I want to share one final thought. The years after 55 can be the most fulfilling of your life, but only if you're intentional about making them that way. It's not just about stopping these 9 habits. It's about replacing them with better ones. Remember, it's never too late to start living more intentionally. Sometimes the best way to move forward is to first identify what you need to stop doing. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more insights on managing your retirement years. This is Patrick Shope reminding you that the quality of your retirement isn't just about your net worth. It's about your net worth living. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.